Okay guys, what we have to do now is we're assembling all of our wonderful toppings for our bruschetta bar for our party. So now the star of the show is actually the baguette. And I love these artisan baguettes. You can get them at your local bakery or your local grocery store. And we're gonna have to kind of think about this a little bit because we're doing 6 different bruschettas. And I'm looking at my notes here because we're doing a shrimp avocado bruschetta, and that one is going to require a Parmesan cheese on it. And then we're doing the filet and creamy horseradish. Well, that's just going to be olive oil. And then we're doing sauteed mushrooms and Swiss cheese, and that's going to be the Swiss cheese. And then we're doing the fig jam and mascarpone bruschetta, so that's going to be in olive oil. And then we're doing the pear bacon blue cheese with arugula, and that's just going to be blue cheese. And then the tomato basil, bruschetta, which is really probably my all-time favorite. And that is going to require a little bit of Parmesan also. So when we slice our baguette, I have to keep in mind that, we are going to be doing different toppings on them. So I've got my baguette and I want to start it at an angle. And I want to get as much real estate off the piece of bread that I can. So I'm going to cut the heel off, which happens to be my favorite piece. And this is probably going to end up with a little bit of butter or blue cheese a little bit later. I'm not going to lie, that it's not going to go anywhere. That's going in my private stash. That's going in Mama D's little private stash over there. So now that I've got my bread cut at an angle, I'm going to get a lot more surface off of it had I just cut it directly across and just had a little medallion. So let's just keep going with that. I want them to be about, well, you know what, they're kind of a generous 1/4 of an inch-ish. So let's go with that. Let's just keep cutting along here. And we've got, a lot of toppings that are going to go on these, and we're going to just separate them. We're just going to cut the bread and then we're going to separate them according to how many we need for each topping. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Yeah. I love these parties. You guys, I absolutely love a baguette party. You're going to have steak lovers and they're going to be satisfied. You're going to have people that love shrimp. They're satisfied. If you've got a vegetarian, perfect. We've got the tomato basil. We've got the mushroom and Swiss. I mean, this is a win. This is a win-win-win. And we're not slaving over big pots of things, which makes it really fun. It's a fun little dinner party. It's really more of an appetizer party, I think, but you know what? That's just how we entertain these days. We're just not doing the big gigantic dinner parties as much. At least I'm not, and I love to entertain. I love to make a homemade pizza on the grill and have your own pizza party, and everybody, you roll out the homemade dough, and everybody gets to just take the toppings that they like, and then we put them on the grill or the smoker. And it's just so much fun. It's the same thing with this. I am going to have all of the bread assembled, all of the baguette assembled, except for the tomato basil. I put that on the very last moment. And I might actually have a little dish of the tomato sitting off to the side because I don't necessarily know that I want the bread to get soggy. So I'll probably let people put that particular topping on themselves. But the rest of them are already going to be done. Gonna just keep cutting the bread here, sweet friends. I bought this yesterday and it's a little stale, and that's perfectly fine because it's gonna go in the oven. And I've got the oven set at 400 degrees, and just to melt the cheese and just to kind of, let that olive oil get warm and toast the bottom of the bread a little bit. So we'll be doing that in just a second. Okay. Okay, we're on to our second baguette here. Gotta have a lot of them because this is the star of the show. Saving the little hunk for later. I do love those chewy ends. Okay, the more diagonal you cut your bread, the bigger the piece is going to be. And that's what we want for this particular party. I have used ciabatta breads before. I've used different types of bread and they work fine too. I just love a baguette. And that was just gonna work really good for what I wanted to do this evening. So, you know, you have fun playing around with the different types of breads that you like. Gonna keep cutting this. Okay, friends, we're down to the last few slices here. And now comes the tricky part because we've got to think about, all right, I have so many pieces of bread and some of them are going to get olive oil, some of them are going to get cheese. So let's just kind of put our caps on and think about how we're going to do this real quick. I'm going to go ahead and just put all the bread onto one of the cookie sheets just to make it a little bit more organized here. I'm going to put this guy off to the side. And I'm going to take my other cookie sheet. So I know, let's see what we have here. We've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8, 32. Okay, we've got about 40. Oh, that little heel piece, you know where that's going. That's going in my little stash over there. Okay, so we've got about 42. We're doing 6 different bruschettas. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do 6 of each type. And then whatever is left over, we can just kind of see whatever the favorites are going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and just lay these out on my cookie sheet. And I'm going to kind of think about the ones that are going to need the blue cheese, the ones that are going to need the Swiss cheese, the ones that are just going to only need olive oil. Let's do that real quick. I don't think I'm going to get them all on one cookie sheet. I've got both ovens warming at 400 degrees. They bake up really quick, okay? Oh, there they are. They just told us, we're ready, Mom. We're ready for the party. It's like, so am I, friends. Let's go. Okay. Now what we're going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and, so we're going to need, for the shrimp and avocado, we need Parmesan. The filet and the creamy horseradish is going to be olive oil. The mushrooms and Swiss is going to be Swiss, of course. The fig jam, that's going to be mascarpone, so that's going to be olive oil. And then we've got the pear bacon and blue cheese. So 6 of them, let's go ahead and do that real quick. 6 of them are going to require blue cheese. I love blue cheese. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And this is really kind of one of the more of the favorites when I make this. And I'm just going to go in with my fingers because I kind of like to push the blue cheese down onto the baguette. And I just find that when I use a knife, it doesn't work as well. So let's just get messy with it. Let's just put some love in it. Let's just put our fingers in it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm kind of picking the pieces of bread that have a little bit more surface on them because they're gonna get arugula, pear, and bacon. So I want them to be a little bit of a bigger piece of bread, because they're going to hold a lot more topping than some of the other ones, okay? So we've got that. There's 4. Let's just go ahead and do 6. I kind of feel like I want to do a whole trays of each one of them, but that's just kind of overkill. We're just not going to be able to eat all this food. Okay, now let's go. Oh, here's a nice big one. I like this biggie. Let's go ahead and pick up some of this blue cheese here. And we'll go ahead and just put that on the last one here. Okay, I like it. So now we've got our blue cheese, little loves. Wash my hands. Oh guys, that's heaven. That is like money, money, money. Love it. Okay, got our blue cheese. Now we're gonna come in and we're going to do the Parmesan. And what did I say? We've got the shrimp is going to take the Parmesan, and then the tomato basil. So we're going to need 12 with Parmesan. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 4, 5, yeah. Okay, let's move these guys out of the way. And they're going to get the Parmesan. And I love to grate my own cheese, you guys, I really do. But by all means, you know what, go ahead, whatever Parmesan cheese you like, if you want to get the little shredded stuff in the package, whatever makes you happy, you do that. I'm gonna go ahead and grate a little bit here on my board. This Parmigiano Reggiano is just my favorite. I just nibble on this, you know, instead of having a chip or a cracker when you're really just wanting that little, you know, you're just craving something salty and delicious. This is my go-to, and I think it's wonderful. Okay, so on the Parmesan, oh, that made quite a bit. I am gonna go ahead and just take a little bit of olive oil and just give each one of these just a little brush of olive oil, just a little kiss. We're just gonna kiss them all with a little olive oil. Okay, there we go. And you can do both sides if you want. I'm only doing one side. But if you feel like you want it olive oil both sides, you can do that. Okay, let's set this off. And now we're just gonna give all of these guys a little love with the Parmesan Reggiano. That's what that is. And the little bit that gets on the pan, oh, they get golden brown and just delicious. You know, like when the pizza delivery guy comes and he's got that little bit of burnt cheese on the edge of the pizza, it's like, that's mine. I don't care about the rest of it. Just give me that little bit of burnt cheese on the end. I love it. Or if you make a grilled cheese and there's a little bit of cheese that kind of gets in the pan. My gosh, you guys, I love that stuff. Okay. A little bit more. Here we go. Make sure, I want to cover them. You know, I want them to be able to taste all the flavor. I want them, you know, I want everybody to definitely know there is some Parmesan on that bread. There's some blue cheese on that bread. I don't want an essence of it. I want them to be able to taste it. So I think what I'm going to do right now is this is going to be the cheese board. So I'm going to go ahead and get 6 more pieces of baguette here. And let's go ahead and just do these with the Swiss cheese. And I just bought, you know, just regular packaged Swiss cheese that it's sliced. So we're just going to kind of do a little rough tear and cover our little pieces of bread. There we go. Yum. I love Swiss cheese and mushrooms. Oh boy, do I love it. So good. Yeah. I just love Swiss cheese anyway. Okay, we got that. This is going to be so good with those sauteed garlicky mushrooms on top. Yum. Okay, I'm going to cover, I mean, I really want all this bread to have a little, make sure that every little piece is covered with cheese. Okay. There we go. Oh, what the heck, just go for it. So now we've got our blue cheese, we've got our Parm, we've got our Swiss, and I'm going to go ahead and pop these little dollies in the oven and let that rock and roll for a little bit. And then on these, we've got, what do we have, you guys? We've got the shrimp and avocado is just olive oil. No, that is, no, I'm taking that back. Shrimp and avocado is Parm. The filet is just olive oil. The mushroom and Swiss, we've got that. We've got the mascarpone. So these are going to be just olive oil. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, because we've got the tomato basil. Okay, I'm going to pop these in the oven real quick. They're going to get happy. It's going to take about 10 minutes. Okay, let's just go ahead and just brush a little olive oil on both sides of our bread for this. We're just going to kiss them with a little oil on both sides. We've got our second tray done with just olive oil. So these little baguettes have just been kissed with some olive oil. They're going to go in the oven at 400 degrees for about 5 minutes. And when they're nice and toasty and delicious, I'm going to pull them out, let them cool, and we're going to assemble our bruschetta bar. I can't wait, you guys. I just took the cheesy baguettes out of the oven, 400 degrees for about 6 minutes. They smell like heaven. And now I'm going to grab the baguettes that just have the olive oil on them, no cheese. Oh boy, you guys, they are toasty and delicious. Amazing. They're perfect. These are perfect. You want just a little bit of crunch to them. Look at that beautiful golden brown bottom. You want them to be crunchy, but you still want them to have some tenderness to them. So when you bite into them, you get that crunchy exterior, a little crunchy bottom, but then the top is still a little bit soft, and the inside is still a little bit chewy. So that's the perfect toasted baguette for our party. I can't wait to assemble all of this, you guys. It's gonna be amazing.